I finished it. I finished mine, and that's how it came out. And I was so impressed by Lynn. Is Lynn on? No, Lynn's not on. By the rays that Lynn did, that I wanted to make rays as well, even though I hadn't done the scratches coming out in rays. And Susan, this is the long and winding road without the road.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I like that.
So that's this year's not long and winding road, but the sunset and the mountains and the fields.
Very nice.
But what I did is I put the iridescent paint on top and then painted over. So that made rays, and so I'm liking that. And then this one I showed you painted, but not with the colored pencil. So I did the colored pencil, and this is the Starry Starry Night, and these are also done after the little stars. They were done afterwards. But the rays here, I did by erasing the colored pencil coming out from the center. And I used a regular pencil eraser, which I'm always telling you not to do. Because the kneaded eraser didn't take it off. But I went, choo, 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 choo. So there is a use for regular pencil erasers in the art that I teach. But I didn't know it until today, actually. I discovered that today. So we're going to do something similar to that. I never know which is up and which is down on the camera. We're going to do this, which many of you have done without the tree. The tree is, it's the California Infinite Hills. It's more yellow on in the computer. It's more orange somehow when it printed out on my printer. And I put the tree in Photoshop and then printed it out. So we're going to attempt to do that, and we're going to do it with the idea of scratches, with doing this kind of technique. And Sally has never done this. Everyone else has done this. Susan did it a million years ago, and John was here last week. So Sally, we're going to go faster than we did last week. We went slowly last week. We're not going slowly this week. So I'm going to do what I did last time, which is start out by painting. This is my sketch. See, you can see it's all the scrabbles all over the sketch. This is my sketch, and I suggested people have sketches. And first we're going to paint and put that aside, and then I want to see the stuff you've done over the week or over the entire year for people I haven't seen. And then by then it'll be time that we can make the scratches, and you're going to have to wing it, Sally. Sorry, that's just the way it goes. So anyway, I'll get started. I'm going to put the iridescent paint in the sky, and then the colored paint, and I'm basically going to make it all yellow because the other colors will come in with the pencil. And what this layer does is simply do what is going to be in the scratches. So on this, it's the iridescent, and like here, it's green, and then it's yellow. So I decided I don't need to do the green, I just need to do the yellow. So that's what's going to happen. And I decided I want a smaller brush.
Elin, where would are we able to print out that picture from our?
Yes, it's okay. It's on the webpage.
Okay.
It's the second picture on the webpage. I mean,
Roger.
Down where there's photos.
Okay.
The first one is the basic photo, and then the second one has the tree. Because I like what scratches do. I like what you can do with trees with scratches. I like that effect.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
But you can only do that when your tree is pretty close.
Oh, you look like a Picasso?
What? A Picasso? No, it's supposed to look like a Van Gogh. It's Starry, Starry Night.
Right. That is definitely looks like Van Gogh to me.
Anyway, that's okay.
It looks like an Elin go.
Yeah. Yeah. So here we go. This is the pearlized white. I don't know whether we did stuff with that when you were around, Susan.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. Okay. So you know what it is.
Yeah, I don't have any though, but I'll have to makeshift somehow.
Well, you don't have to do it. I mean, because it works perfectly well with just yellow. In other words, that's what we did the other time. Is we just used the background color.
Okay.
It's just, I've just discovered this whole business of putting the iridescent stuff. In other words, this time around of teaching it, I've discovered this, using it in back of the scratches, and now I'm addicted. You know, when you find a new thing, you have to do it and do it and do it until you've got it in your head, or at least I do. And Louise knows about that because she got into plastic wrap, and everything was plastic wrap. So that kind of, you know, and then after a while you do something else, and something else becomes important. So here we go. I think I just painted part of the tree with sky color. Well, all of a sudden it is now part of the sky. There we go.
So it's upside down. So we're seeing the sky is what you're painting.
Yeah, it's upside down because it's easier for me to do it that way.
Yeah, you're allowed. I'm just curious.
Thank you. Good. Yeah, it's upside down. And I'll come right side up as soon as I get into the mountains.
Do you get a different perspective? Doing
No,
it
I do
way?
that because it's easiest for me to sort of stay in the lines if I
Oh.
have the point of the brush toward where the line is. And
Okay.
since I'm in the sky, that means I want to go around the leaves and the trees and the edge of the mountains. And as you see, I'm not perfect at all, far from. But it's easier for me to turn the paper than it is for me to do it the other way. So now I've turned it right side up.
Good.
And I'm going to use gamboge closest in. I'm going to use all my yellows because this is a predominantly yellow painting. And I'm going to start with gamboge down here, which I have said for years, gamboge. Somehow I want it to have an R in it because this is the closest to us, and so it's the brightest.
Have you ever heard people from Maryland talk about Washington?
Yeah. Did you ever hear people from Maine? They talk about, they put R's where there are no R's, and they take R's away from places where there are R's. So Barbara has no R's, but vehicle is a vehicle. And that, I mean, it's the old time Mainers. It's not even people my age. I suppose they're all dead now because now I'm old. But when I lived there, I was younger. So I associated that with people who were old. Okay, so now that's my gamboge. And now maybe that's where I first heard the paint talked about, and it was some Maina adding an R. And this is yellow ochre, because the tree will be brown, but what I want to show through should be sort of a yellow. And now let's figure out where my branches are, because I've messed it up already. That's for part of it. I don't have to worry about it. You don't really have to worry about it. I'm just being a little more pernickety than I usually am. There we go. Now, when I think about it, what color do I want on the back of the leaves? I may want the same thing. I mean, they'll be dark green. Yeah, I think I want ochre there too. I think I want it thinner. So that doesn't look thinner. Now I'm being a little bit careful because I'm right by my sky color, which is actually going to be yellow too, but it's going to be a different yellow. But the entire tree can be a version of yellow ochre. And this is a technique where you don't have to be careful about, you don't really have to be careful about lines and stuff. I'm being more careful than I usually am. I think it's because I made the pencil marks too dark. I want to be sure they're covered. Okay, so now my next yellow. I'm going to put a thin yellow ochre mixed with a lemon yellow, sort of in my mid trees. So here's my mid color, and I'm going to paint right over my trees. Oh, I missed these leaves. Okay, that's good enough. I can slobber over. And this is leaves. Add some yellow ochre. And then at the very top, I will use my lemon because it gets lighter and lighter. And that I will go into the sky with. Oops, I forgot these leaves. And so that will mix with the iridescent. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I may even stick some more on top of that. So that's that. And now we put this aside and let it dry a little bit. It doesn't have to be completely dry, just a little bit dry. Back to California here. Now this is still cold. In other words, when I touch it, it doesn't smear, but it's not completely dry. It's still, you know, it's still cold because it's still evaporating. So I'm going to do, I'm not going to start with the pink one. I'm going to start with this regular one because this one's wearing down. I'm going to start with a plain cut credit card. And I'm going to do my scratches. And this is sort of my favorite bit, is doing scratches that are going to turn out to be neat, exciting, different. And so this is doing the bark. And doing along my branch. And then in my leaves, I'm just going to do some little twiggy things. You know how the bits of the branches will show through the foliage, just as. And what these are doing is that they're just going to be yellow underneath the green. And now I'm going to do along the lines of my hills. This is wet enough so that if I go in some directions, it seems to want to really cut the paper, which is not what you want to have happen. And of course, I can't see where the scratches are, so some of these I may be doubling up.
Yeah, I was asking, is there a way to have light from the side or something so you can kind of see what you're doing with the scratches?
You can see it. Yeah, you can't see it at all. You can't see it at all.
No, I mean, while you're doing it.
Pardon?
While you're doing it, can you see it?
I can't see it while I'm doing it. When I did that, I can see it sort of when it's tipped.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see them now. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. When you tip it and the light catches it funny. but you can't see it when it's, I mean, maybe you could set up a light so that the light was coming sort of sideways. Okay, have I got it all? Probably not. And then in my little trees, I'm just going to do scratches because they're just going to be green. And then the scratches will be the branches and the trunks. Now, like I said, I like to do scratches when the paper is damp. You can do it when the paper is completely dry. That's the other thing I do is I feel where my scratches are. That I can do pretty well. Okay, so now I'm going to take my knife. Well, first I'm going to take my credit card, and in my far back hills, not my way far back hills. My way far back hills, I'm not going to put any scratches. Just the edges. I did the edges. But my medium hills, I'm going to do their contours with the credit card. And I'm using a fairly thin bit of pinking.
Different from the other?
Pardon? The
Different
other
from
side
the
is
other.
fatter. In other words, I cut the credit card in a funny kind of shape.
Yep. Yeah,
And I'm
okay.
using the shorter end because these are not that far apart.
So is
I
that
want them.
smearing the paint? What's that doing?
Pardon?
What's that doing?
Making indentations in the paper.
Oh, I thought you were using the flat side of it.
No, I'm using the pinked side.
Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, I see. I see what you're doing. I see. With the pinking.
And then close in, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to use the knife, and I'm going to try and think about, if you look on the reference photo, there's a directionality of the lines in the photo. And so I'm going to do that same kind of directionality, or I'm going to attempt to. And I'm going to do it down from the top and up from the bottom. And down here, it's much more horizontal. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to take my not pinked card, and I'm going to do some flicky bits right at the edge, because I like flicky bits. And then I'm going to do I'm taking the narrow end of my non-pinked card, and I'm just going to make little scribbles for a grass that's tall on my close-in hills. Just little scribbly things. And I want to do some of those back here too. Just scribbly, like stuff that's peeking over the edge of the hill. And some little artistic bits. This is pretty dry. I think it's going to take pencil. I think it'll work. I did the Graham Kerr thing. I did another one in case it didn't dry, but I think it's dry enough. So I'm just not going to do that. So the beginnings. So which is this? This is dark green. So my darker greens are going to be closer in, and this is olive green. So I'm going to make, if you see on the reference photo, there's lighter bits and then darker bits. So I'm going to make my dark green. I need glasses. I'm going to need dark green here. So can you see the scratches beginning to come out?
Yeah. So I want to know is that green? So does that mix with the paint underneath somehow?
No, it doesn't mix with the paint.
Because I was trying blue on top of yellow and it came out green. So
Well, it gives that effect because you're seeing it. Your eye makes it move together.
Is that a charcoal or is it
It's a
regular-
colored pencil.
oh, okay.
It's just a regular Prismacolor
Okay.
Premier pencil. And then what I am gonna mix it with is the olive green, which is, I think, a little lighter. It doesn't look much different. I think it's almost exactly the same. Let's find something a little lighter, or let's use some of this down here. Here's my flicky bits. I like my flicky bits. Because that's supposed to be a little lighter. And so now let's get a really light green, because that was not that different. This is apple green. That's lighter. But I haven't got as much space now. Do I not have a line there? There it is. I'm going by my graphite pencil line, and my scratch is not on the graphite pencil line. And I'm scribbling it all through so that it will all blend together. And the nice thing about this is you don't have to really worry too much about your stroke or anything like that, which you do with watercolor. So now I'll do some tree. And I want brown, a reddish brown. And I will want a dark brown. So that's dark umber, and this is terracotta. John, I would not be discouraged over your screen painting, your munch, because this is the first one you've ever done like this.
I know, but it's once you figure out your scratches aren't enough, you can't, that's too late, right?
Well, you can't, I think, I've never worried about that. I think you can probably go back. You could dampen the paper. I mean, it would take like 2 days, because you could dampen the paper. Well, this is really dark. So this is my shad outside with this dark umber. Okay. Not being too picky here. So now let's take some green and put it on our leaves and hope it covers up the graphite pencil, because the graphite pencil is not where the scratches are. Okay, so which is which here? Oh, I think I did this wrong. I think I am now treating this as sky. And it should have been leaves. Because I think there's a scratch right there in the middle of what ought to be the sky. Let's do a different green. Yep, there's scratches. There's none here.
So does that green come out the same as if you did it right on white paper?
No.
Oh, okay.
And that's why you want to be careful. Well, not careful, but the color that goes underneath, which is the color that's going to show through,
Mhm.
will also sort of inform the top color, which is why you got green when you put blue on yellow.
Yeah, so if you'd use like a really, I don't know, another shade of green, could you pull it out to be more green if that's what you wanted? I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out.
Yeah, there's a different green.
Looking for.
There's
How
a,
do you get to a color you're looking for?
you mess with it, you
Mhm.
know. So now I've got some green
Oh,
that it was
that's a
put to,
brighter green, whatever that is.
this is dark green.
Okay.
This is vert foncé, which apparently is dark. And this is apple. It also depends on how hard you push, you know. I'm not being really, and some, like my paint has gone not where my sketch was. So I'm putting my colored pencil to go with my paint, not necessarily with my sketch. The sketch is, it's just that, it's a sketch. It's not something you have to live with forever. Okay, so now my little trees down here, since I've got the green out. So now I want what? I want a lighter green. I probably want some of the apple coming up. And now I'm not worrying about my lines at all because I've got my scratches that are informing where the mountain edge, where the hill edges are. I wanted my dark greens where my trees are. What else do I have? I have another green. I have yet another green. Grass green. Oh, grass green. Absolutely. The other thing that the wax does is mix your colors. Now back here, I think I just want some yellows. And I may want some yellows. Do I have yellow ochre? Yes, I do. Coming in through here too. And I don't know what I'm doing with the sky. I think the gamboge was a mistake. I think it's too bright. Wouldn't all of our kindergarten teachers be upset seeing me scribble scrabble like that? They would say, "You're nowhere near the lines." It's true. I'm nowhere near the lines.
Yeah, but by the time you got in high school, they wouldn't care.
No, by the time you get in high school, they want you to be
Want you in the
formal
line.
too. No, they wanted me to be formal in high school too. Of course, I went to high school probably before. Anyway, I'm putting yellow in this. Oh, I don't like that at all. I want a very light yellow, a white yellow, cream. I don't have any scratches in the sky
Why?
because I didn't put any there. I didn't think about it.
Hmm.
I could have put a cloud, I suppose. But what I might do is add some more of the metallic.
Which parts of it had the metallic? I can't remember.
What?
Which parts of the painting had metallic?
Just the sky and the top mountains.
Okay.
And I'm not seeing it coming through. So I may add more. Okay. I am now completely colored. Ow, I got a cramp in my finger. I'm going to start with my tree because that's my favorite. And this is when, I mean, the magic happens when you see the scratches, but it also happens when you push the paint, the color into the paper with the blender or the candle. Yes, yes. So you see how much more vibrant the color gets when you add the wax and how it blends together. So let's do some.
Elin, I must have missed something. What kind of wax are you using?
I am using a blender pencil, which is it's sold by Prismacolors. Other people sell it too.
Oh, okay. I
But
got
you can use a candle. Are you using a candle, Louise?
I am. You see, it's all worn down. Proof I've
Yeah.
been working. Yes.
So you can use a candle. It's messier.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I tried using a piece of hard wax to blend two colors of, colored pencil, and it just did not work at all.
It didn't work at all.
Not at all. It was
Huh.
very disappointing. Maybe-
Well, I've never used just wax. I've always used either a candle or a blending pencil.
Well, candle is wax.
Yeah,
This was maybe a little harder. It's like a harder wax than candle, but I don't know.
yeah. The blender pencil is a harder wax. That's all it is. It's a harder wax, and it's easier to handle. But it isn't.
I mean, what I had was a thing they use in sewing where they wax the thread.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I've never used that. I'll have to try it. I also discovered something by accident. I spilled some water on it on a bit, and you can actually blend colored pencil with water and take it up, just like you can take it up with an eraser, but not a kneaded eraser, a pencil eraser. And I haven't tried like a white eraser, which is sort of halfway in between. It's a softer eraser than the pencil eraser, but it's a harder eraser than our kneaded erasers. And of course, by the time you've abused your paper so that it's got watercolor, it's got scratches, and it's got colored pencil, you're not getting down to bare paper so much as you do, which is why you want to use a kneaded eraser for the most part, because when you're doing a sketch before a watercolor painting, you want to preserve the paper as much as possible. But when you're at this point, for example, and if you wanted to blend something, the paper is first of all protected by the stuff you've got on it, and second of all, it's not as desperate. I mean, when you destroy paper before you've even started to do the watercolor, that's pretty bad. That's getting there. It's getting there. Where are some of my little scribbles? There's some scribbles. And there's some scribbles. Okay. Now I'll show you what I mean about putting water on top. As you can see, you can keep going, and the longer you keep going, the more it blends and the deeper you get into the paper. But supposing I say, okay, this is too hard a line. So I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to blend it out a bit. Now I think that what else you could do here, John, is that you could wet it down and then do scratches again. I haven't tried that yet.
I will try.
So this takes off some of the pencil and blends some of the pencil. And yeah, if you make your brush strokes funny, the pencil blends funny. And it's not watercolor pencil. This is regular colored pencil. Now what happens if you blot it? I didn't blot it this time. Oh, darn it. Here's some tissue. Now, it doesn't really come up. Maybe if it were wetter. Huh. Comes up a little bit. So, there you go. More scratches. Again, not subtle. It's not a subtle technique. It's not for subtle stuff. And the iridescent seems to show up better on the TV. But I can do that too.
Oh, now you see it. Yeah.
I like this, the swoopiness. I don't know that I like the colors. I think it's too green. I should have gone more yellow. I'll mess with it over the week and bring it back. We'll see. We'll see what happens then.
You know, Elin,
Yeah.
the leaf in the background, if you were to take that branch out, it'd look like a volcano.
Ah, yeah.
Like
This
the
one.
steam. Yeah, see the steam coming up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's neat.
It's a neat technique.
Yeah.
I think it takes more planning than you can do in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But it's a neat technique. And one of these days I'm going to try to do subtle because it's not a subtle technique.
Mm.
It's something that makes colors pop. Okay, great.
Thanks.
Everyone be safe.
Yes, and thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks, Elin.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
Have a good
Stephanie.
week.
Take care.
You
everyone.
too. Thanks,
Thank you.
Elin.
You too.
Welcome back.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night.